Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to This Week in Bitcoin. Today is February the 19th, 2021. Strong hand, long-term thinking. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. One day closer to $1 trillion market cap. Oh, wait a second. That famous saying of mine, one day closer to $1 trillion market cap. It's come true. It's come true. Today, just before this show, we hit like 55,000. It's 54,000 right now. It hit a freaking $1 trillion market cap. Something I've been talking about for years. I had names of the shows. I had the Road to $1 trillion market cap. I had a series of shows called that. All you had to do was have a freaking strong hand. You'd be a freaking millionaire right now if you were listening to me all these years. Now it got there. I'd say one day closer to an all-time high. We get to an all-time high. Another day, another all-time high. We are living through like a freaking incredible time I've been talking about for a while. I've been in this since 2013. I've seen the cycles. A lot of people didn't believe me. Oh, why didn't you sell your Bitcoin to get a nice car? This is why, baby. This is why, baby. One Bitcoin's worth more than I paid for a house ever. All right? It's unbelievable what's going on here. So Brandon is here. We got Nico here. And, of course, we got Boris here. I'm going to start with Nico. Dude, is this like a huge turning point? Is this what's going to get the institutions in? There are people like Andy Hoffman and like what's his name, Dan Tapiero that said it needs to be $1 trillion market cap for the institutions going to pile in. So, what's your take on the latest news here, Nico?
So first of all, man, you have me so hyped, right? Just that, that intro, it was just amazing. But yeah, man, listen, the floodgates are opening. You saw it on the MicroStrategy Bitcoin for corporations. You saw the Ross Stevens in like the initial pitch already says, yes, tremendous interest from corporations, institutional money. I think that $1 trillion mark is just reconfirming what Bitcoiners have been saying for years now, so this is validation. Okay. This is your thoughts, your dreams, what you thought was going to happen actually happened, and we're living through it. It's freaking amazing. I'm loving the experience, and I'm super happy to be here with you guys to talk about it.
Yes. Pound that freaking like button. Now, in normie land, it's unbelievable. You know what's going on in normie land? People are complaining about Ted Cruz being in Mexico. If you care about that, there are more people that know about Ted Cruz picking his nose in Mexico than know about this long-awaited moment. This is how brainwashed the people are. Have fun staying poor if you know about Ted Cruz in Mexico. I mean, it's ridiculous what's going on. Boris, now what do you know about? You're in Europe. Do you know about Ted Cruz or do you know about Bitcoin? You've been around this for a while. $1 trillion freaking dollars, dude. $1 trillion. Just moments ago, we got to $1 trillion market cap. This is like it's companies dream of this, okay? And Bitcoin is there. So you take it away, Boris. Your thoughts.
Yeah, man, it's unbelievable. It's what I really, really love about this price hike is that, I mean, we've been talking for years. I do a podcast in the Netherlands in Dutch, and I'm trying to convince all these old school investors, these people on TV, on mainstream media, and they're all laughing like, oh yeah, it's him again with his Bitcoin. And then there's this price, and the price is right. This is, I don't know, there's no argument. I mean, you can talk to these people for years, but when Bitcoin hits $50,000, it shuts them up right there. And I love it. It's good to be right once every 4 years, and people just like, the only thing they say, they text you like, how can I buy some Bitcoin? Can you please help me? My bank is not helping me. I cannot transfer the money. All these problems that happen in these bull markets. It's yeah, man, this is it. We're living it.
This is long awaited. Now, it was the beginning of the week. We got to 50,000. That was pretty exciting. But I knew, and there are quite a few people out there that knew that for me, the bigger one is this $1 trillion market cap that we reached earlier today. Brandon, you've got a tweet out there that is linked to below. $1 billion is a unicorn. $1 trillion is a honey badger. So what the heck is going on here? Why is this even happening today? I've got a few theories. But you've been waiting for this for a while too, so take it away, Brandon.
Yeah, I mean, first off, I'm like trying to contain my excitement, and you're really pulling it out of me. So I'll do my best. But we are the luckiest human beings on the face of the earth. We are living through the transformation into a digital monetary system, and have the privilege to be early adopters to this thing. 1 trillion is just another benchmark on the way for it to become the numeraire of the world. So this feels good. But this is only validation of what we know is coming next, which is, not just every institution, but every single human being in the world eventually using Bitcoin as their store of value, as their medium of exchange, and as a unit of count. And, it's going to be the tool that enables millions, if not billions of people to come out of poverty. And it's just, it's moments like this where you can see this added level of validation that just make you so excited for what's coming next, because it's going to be beautiful.
All right. Now, somebody in the chat has a funny joke. Is the halving already priced in? Yeah. Now, let's remember back in the days of the halving. It's priced. Everything's priced in. All these. I heard it back in 2016. We have lived. Right now, we are living what we lived in 2017. Really, you have a halving. The price, goes up a little bit before the halving, then it goes down, and people are disappointed. And then 6 months pass, and then whoa, like freaking Ric Flair, whoa, it goes up like it's going right now. This happened in 2017. It happened 210,000 blocks ago, but on a smaller scale. Now it's on a larger scale. So every day there's an excuse for why. Why did it go to what it did today? MicroStrategy, every darn week they make an announcement of they're issuing debt for 0% and people buy it up, and then they buy up Bitcoin. It's a speculative attack on the dollar. Brandon, tell us more about this.
Yeah, well, I mean, first off, it's crazy that he tried to raise 600 mil and ended up filling it at over a bill. I mean, the demand is insane. And at a 0% interest rate, like, holy cow, everyone is just trying to find, what we are seeing are people who have the legal justification to buy debt or to buy bonds, but they don't have the ability to buy Bitcoin. And so this is the way that they're getting access to Bitcoin, is through MicroStrategy. And he's just creating a vehicle. So, I mean, he gets to be the one who, is sitting back in his chair watching the money flow in, because he's the one vehicle that people can use to get to Bitcoin. So, yeah, it's incredible.
Quite entrepreneurial of him to take advantage of these weird government regulations that prevent people from having Bitcoin ETFs and everything that they dream of having. He's gotten around all this, and he's made it a way for these institutions to get exposure to Bitcoin. I mean, it is just weird. It's crazy. The dude can print his own money to buy Bitcoin. I mean, it's one way of interpreting it. Is this going to end anytime soon, do you think? Or is anyone going to try to emulate him, Brandon? Or do you have any theories on that?
I think everyone's going to try to emulate him. I mean, the next group, I would expect Tesla even to try and do a similar debt offering. I don't see why they wouldn't. Square should be upping. Remember when Square put in like 50 mil and everyone was like excited, and they're like, we're going to do more later. Well, they still haven't announced more. So, that's still coming. Yeah, I think every single institution is going to be trying to get as much Bitcoin as they possibly can by any means necessary. If not next week, then sometime this year, and if not this year, next year. It's inevitable. Oh,
by any means necessary. Boris, what are they saying about Michael Saylor in Europe, or do you have an opinion of this?
Yeah, actually, I read into this little graffiti about Michael Saylor in Amsterdam, in the middle of Amsterdam. I mean, can you believe it? This guy is world famous, and just on the street, somebody placed it there. I saw him on Twitter as well, and I mean, what Michael Saylor's doing is it's grabbing a lot of attention, especially what the stock of MicroStrategy is doing. I do believe that it's run its course in the sense that we see the first ETFs now in the US. We have this similar product in Europe for some time now. VanEck is doing that. We see that growing. So if investors have more options to expose themselves to the price of Bitcoin, MicroStrategy is going to profit less of that. And let's be honest, I mean, I love Michael Saylor. I love his opening talk with NYDIG CEO Ross Stevens. That was absolutely mind-blowing. But I think you're paying like a 3 or 3.5 times premium if you buy the stocks instead of buying Bitcoin directly. So I still think just keeping it simple and buying Bitcoin is the best idea. But I realize some companies can't and some investors can't. And yeah, MicroStrategy, that what they've pulled off is absolutely amazing.
I want to say all these guys are linked below. And yes, Boris did tweet out a freaking picture on the street of Amsterdam of Saylor. It was kind of odd. But hey, it's people are learning. And hey, go to these dudes' feeds. You'll learn a lot. I do want to say, you said Bitcoin ETF in the United States. We're still not there yet. Something happened in Canada. I don't know if you guys want to talk about that. But we'll get there eventually. I mean, there was talk this week. Somebody else filed for a Bitcoin ETF. To me, it's all noise. It will happen eventually. I'm just happy that I've been here since 2013, and I don't need some middleman to buy my Bitcoin for me and to invest in some traditional financial assets for exposure to Bitcoin. I've just been buying the real freaking thing since 2013. And you can check out my feed and see my popular tweets when I tweeted out that I paid $210 in April of 2015 for Bitcoin at Coinbase. You can see it. I still have that Bitcoin. Ha ha ha. All right, now let's go to Nico. I am on fire today, but I'm on fire freaking every day. Do you have thoughts on MicroStrategy? What's going on over there?
Yeah, so Michael Saylor, I actually ran into the YouTube algorithm just coincidentally, just sent me one of his videos, and he was basically talking about investing in Apple, and this was like 10, 15 years before Apple blew up. And the way he articulated it just really hit a chord on me, because this guy seems to be positioning himself before the emerging technology starts to just explode, right? And I think we are right now on the cusp of that. I think Michael Saylor is either extremely lucky or extremely smart to be the first kind of major corporation, publicly traded CEO of a publicly traded company to kind of just take that bold move. I think Elon, also committing to that kind of, that really just broke the dam. So I would not be surprised if we hear multiple big name tech companies by the end of the year announce that they have some reserves in Bitcoin.
Dude, it'll be by the end of March, probably. Pound that like button. Hey, wait, so today's spike, do you think it was caused because of Michael Saylor? I think they actually bought the Bitcoin today, or Brandon might know more about this, but just in case, I'll keep it with Nico. Do you think that's what caused the spike today? Michael Saylor, or who knows?
I'm a plebe. I don't trade. I just stack and I hodl. Right. I see that as it's all noise. It's not signal. So it could be, it could not be. But what's important is if you dollar cost average, baby, all of that stuff doesn't matter.
All right, Brandon, do you have a take on why it did spike today?
I think it goes back to, ironically, the efficient market hypothesis, which has been thoroughly disproven at this point by Bitcoin, I think. But, it's that we all knew he was doing the raise. We all knew he was going to be successful with it. And then all it took was him kind of tweeting, all right, the raise happened at $1 million. And then boom, you see the spike. I don't think it was literally him buying that spiked it. I think it was the information just becoming smack across the face obvious that $1 billion in liquidity just got sucked out of Bitcoin again, that it didn't take very long for that kind of get reflected in the price, and really to continue to get reflected in the price. But what's interesting to me is that you don't see, these guys have good bots. I think they're little bots that buy every second or something like that. And it's very methodical. And by doing that, it doesn't affect the price until it does, and everyone tries to buy, and liquidity is just not there. So I think it's a really interesting concept. Microsoft. Yeah,
you have a really good point about their bots. There's sometimes I'm theorizing that they're working on the weekends, because we see sometimes there's these weird spikes on the weekend, and it goes up. I don't know. I have my theories. I think if they tried it in the middle of the day, in the middle of the week, it would spike way too much, and they would they wouldn't get Bitcoin as cheap, quote unquote cheap. I do want to say thank you, GK. He sent a super chat over there, and I want to say 19 Bitcoin make you a millionaire. I forgot to say that at the beginning of the show. we've gotten to the point now where 19 Bitcoin make you a millionaire. And you can go back in my old shows where I was telling people to buy 10 Bitcoin, telling people to buy 20 Bitcoin. It's just amazing. It's what the strong hand was all about. And yet to this very day on Twitter, people are like, when are you going to spend your Bitcoin? Why don't you buy a car? I mean, you don't see why. You don't see what savings is all about. You haven't learned, you impulsive freaks. Pound that like button. Pound that darn like button for freaking deferral of gratification. If you haven't learned it yet, well, you're an 80%er. What can I say? So what are you guys? I forgot who it was. Brandon, did you tweet that Arthur Hayes back? What's going on here? Somebody tweeted out.
Yeah, he put out a really great blog post, I think last night, basically talking about, his take on the Robinhood, GameStop stuff, and then, basically just transitioning it to say, walk away from that system, join Bitcoin. It was very well written. I feel like people don't appreciate how great of a writer Arthur is. I mean, he's very articulate. And so he said he's going to be, publishing all these thoughts about it over the next few weeks. And man, I mean, I missed him. He's amazing. He's great to have him back.
I thought he was now I linked to it, blog.bitmex.com/walkaway. It's linked to below. I thought he was in hiding. I thought the government's after him or something like that. I mean, did he didn't give a location or anything in there?
No, I don't, I'm not sure whether he's like in hiding or whether he's just, staying in Singapore and working with the regulators kind of as they are yelling at him. But, I think that he's trying to keep a low profile for sure. But hey, not anymore. Here he is.
Okay. So no controversial news, at least out of that one. I didn't have time to read it. I just saw that you tweeted it out there. Okay, let's move on to an American topic. Again, we have so many people complaining about maybe the weather is bad where they live and the government is oppressive where they live. I got to say, be in motion. There are options out there, okay? And the freaking mayor of Miami, this Suarez guy, I'm in Miami right now, okay? And I've been here since January, 6th or something? I don't even remember what day I got here. It's freaking awesome. People aren't scared here. People are partying here. And since the moment I got here, like coincidentally, this mayor has been talking up cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and for, you open a business here. The complete opposite of what's going on in California, where Silicon Valley is located. Everyone's like, let's go hide. Oh, the world has changed. Oh, it's so sad. I'm depressed, blah, blah, blah. And so I guess it was the city of Miami. Somebody paid for this billboard. It's linked to below. Thinking about moving to Miami? DM me. And it says Francis Suarez. And so this is on, I guess, the 101 going into San Francisco, or one of the it's very familiar. I've been on this road before. It looks familiar. It's definitely going into San Francisco. And it's just amazing that, compete, don't complain. Miami is just going right into Silicon Valley's face and saying, come on, bring it on, baby. If you want to be Gavin Newsom about your lives, go ahead. Come here. And there are plenty of people from California, from New York, who are moving down here now. We had a meetup here that was amazing. People weren't wearing anything on their face. It was great. So I'll start with Nico. What's your take on the mayor of Miami, and what could this mean for Miami and the world here?
So, man, first of all, it's incredibly humbling and extremely surprising that this would come out of my hometown. So, I think that people underestimate how big this move is. Okay, because if the city of Miami decides to get some type of Bitcoin reserves, as they say, and to become like a Bitcoin leading city in the United States and the world, it's going to give it such a competitive advantage to cities that decide to, are later to the party, So it's incredible. I think that he's positioning the city to radically, just benefit from, basically the Bitcoinization of the world, right? So I think that this is a pattern that's going to repeat itself. It's just Bitcoin game theory. I think it's inevitable that other cities, once they see Miami doing well and attracting business, they're going to start doing the same thing, so it's going to be like a game of who gets there first, because the person that the city or the city state that gets there first is going to benefit the most, just like Michael Saylor is benefiting the most in, the corporate space. In the city state, it's the first city that's going to benefit. And then the last level, it's going to be the country, right? What is the first country that's going to decide to put Bitcoin as its reserves, So I'm glad Miami's first, the first city. That's super freaking awesome. And it's going to keep happening. You'll see.
You bring up that point about what country is going to be the first one to put it in reserves. We've been talking about that since 2016, and it's just that we're one day closer to one of them, some country out there revealing it. I mean, we can all have our theories on who it's going to be. People think it's going to be in Eastern Europe, in Africa, Japan, something. Who knows? But we don't. So you think this dude is serious? I've encountered many politicians in my life in Baltimore, and they lie. They're in the gimmicks. So you think this is, put a billboard in San Francisco, or somebody did. That was pretty big. So you're telling me, from what you know, you think this is serious?
Okay, so that's actually a very good question. Okay, so there's a very weird political situation that's happening in the United States, because of the last president, the new president, but it looks like a sect of the Republican Party just got a dose of what it was like to have a politician that actually told them the truth. And I think that this mayor, starts to pertain to that, which is, let's put our country or let's put our city first. It looks like he's that type of politician. He's leaning that way. Again, I'm in Bitcoin, so I have the luxury of not having to care about politics, but it looks like that specific politician, Mayor Suarez, is of that cut of cloth. But let's see what he does. At the end of the day, politicians are politicians. So let's see what he does. But man, the Bitcoin 2021 just changed to Miami. I would be extremely surprised if this guy walked back. It wouldn't make sense. And it just goes back to Bitcoin's game theory. It would not make sense. This guy's just talking out of his ass. But again, I don't know him. So let's see.
Yeah. Now, so June 4th and 5th in Miami is going to be the Bitcoin 2021. And we're going to talk about that with Brandon in 1 second here. Somebody said, how's the weather in Miami today? Well, it was supposed to rain a little bit. Did it? I don't know. I haven't looked at I've been inside. I'm going to go running right after this. It has been warm all the time. It is so awesome. I hear about these snowstorms. I have no idea what they're talking about. Up in Baltimore, it's been snowing a lot too, my family. It has just been great. You don't have to be stuck in the snow, people. You just said it, Nico. We don't care about politics in Bitcoin. If you're in the Bitcoin overlay, if you really become independent, if you become uncensorable, uncancelable because of your Bitcoin stats, you can live anywhere. And I just go from place to place, and I encourage everybody to get down here. Hopefully this will be the financial capital of the United States very soon, because New York is so backward and pathetic now that they could easily grab the mantle here in beautiful Miami, which I'm so happy to be. It's just blown my expectations away. All right, so Brandon, what's your take on the Miami situation and on Bitcoin Magazine moving the event down here?
Yeah, so really appreciate the plug. I DM'd Mayor Suarez on Twitter from the conference. That's how we ended up moving to Miami. So I believe that is real. He's legitimately probably he responded directly to us and said, bring your conference to Miami. And this was, we were in LA. LA wouldn't work with us. They wouldn't talk to us about doing an in-person event. We were asking what's a time frame that this event could happen. And they would, they wouldn't even entertain the idea of doing an event. And so we just started looking elsewhere, and we DM'd him, and he was like, we want your event in Miami. And if you wanted to zoom out for a second, what he's doing isn't that revolutionary or different. It's the cornerstone of America, which is, open up the doors, open up opportunities, and let people come and show them that, this is the area where you can be free and try things and experiment and do what you want. And that's all he's doing. And it's no wonder it's working. That's why people came to America in the first place. So, I think he's brilliant.
Yeah, Brandon, it's such a great point. Pound that like button. This is the way America's supposed to be, the land of freaking opportunity. This last year, everybody, the governments have gotten rid of opportunity. We're supposed to protect you. No, you can't do that. You can't do this. Florida has been great. All right, Florida has been benefiting, and the whole media tries to vilify it. They're too scared to even step 2 feet into this state. And there's nothing to be scared of. It's unbelievable. We're living in this like make believe. Half the world is in make believe mode. Like they make up stories about places they never even been to. You come here, it's normal, it's awesome, it's great, and it is a land of opportunity. You get such an appreciation of what immigration was all about. You see these people with their Cuban flags, with their Venezuelan flags. They're proud of where they came from, and they knew they had to escape those freaking holes, those dictatorships, to come to a place like this. I feel bad for the Cubans and the Venezuelans that are stuck in New York, that are experiencing what they'd be experiencing in Caracas and freaking Havana. It's a disgrace. Manhattan is like Havana and Caracas now. And I love seeing those flags here. Nico, do you want to give a shout out to the
man? Listen, look, you just that speech completely riled me up, and I completely agree with it 100%. The fact that people have not learned that communism and socialism always leads to poverty, death, and destruction. That lesson is just, it's incredible to see that people still don't get it. I get it because, you know what? My parents are from Venezuela. I understand it very well. The Cubans down here understand it very, very well, right? So, it's not surprising that we have a mayor who tends to leave to that side, that right side politically. Doesn't surprise me at all. But you know what? There's an old saying, I don't know how to say, I wouldn't know how to do the specific translation, but I'm just going to say, paraphrase it in English, but it's basically, listen, sometimes you just have to let someone hit the wall, hurt themselves. And you know what? If California and New York want to try this political identity socialism experiment, let it be. They have to burn down to the ground, and they'll rebuild from that. But that sucks, because they're going to be the last ones into the Bitcoin party. But you know what? They deserve it. Let's see what happens.
Pound that like. But what's the saying? Is the saying in Spanish originally that you're referring to?
It is, but I don't know if I don't know if I could curse on the show. So it's just basically.
Okay, we won't do. Yeah. YouTube even knows when you curse in freaking Spanish. I don't want to start with YouTube. I'm not starting with you, YouTube. YouTube's got that Silicon Valley mentality. They got to protect everyone. It's a disgrace. All right, Boris, we've went on and on about Miami here. You're in a colder environment right now. you're in the Netherlands, and in a place, and that unfortunately is still to this day trying to regulate Bitcoin wallets. We've gone from talking about Miami, entrepreneurialism, opening up the state, to now we're going to talk about this, a great country with a lot of smart people that love Bitcoin that's like stuck in regulation land. We can talk about what Simon is doing over there. But also, I want to hear your take on Miami and America and what's going on, if you have a take on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from my perspective, apart from the fact that it's freezing out here and I'm having fun staying cold, and you guys are in 30 degrees Celsius. Now, seriously, my country is pretty much still locked down. We have a curfew. We cannot go out after 9 o'clock. And me and most of my friends were looking like, where are we going to go? And then there's this Florida situation, which kind of evolved over the past few months. And I have friends who are living in New York, and when I talk to them, they are still afraid of the virus. Their businesses are closing down. They have no place to go. They're locking themselves in their homes, being really like desperate. And then there's this freedom state. That's my European perspective. And I see everybody partying. I see the clubs open. I see everybody being amazed about how normal it is. I know one thing. If I get over there and I'm going to sit at a bar and have a drink, I'm going to inhale, exhale, and really realize that I'm there at the moment, because you have no idea how jealous I am of the fact that you two guys are in a place where there's actually something called freedom. And I don't think it's a coincidence that on the one hand you have this whole COVID thing that's kind of went away in Miami or in Florida, or at least it's not an issue anymore. And Bitcoin, both represent freedom. They can only exist, or basically they can only create freedom. So freedom is a natural thing that comes from using Bitcoin or adopting Bitcoin, adopting regularity set, what do you call it, that you don't have all these crazy rules and curfews and people being afraid. You need freedom. So I can imagine everybody in the US, and maybe some people from outside of the US as well. If you still have some money, or if you manage to save your business in time, I can imagine they're making plans to come down to Florida. So this is going to be the next economic, I don't know, eighth wonder of the world. I have no idea what's going to happen, but it's amazing in this state, because it looks like we're going to be locked down here for the rest of the year in Europe as well, and probably in parts of US it'll be the same. And it's just, there's no words for it. It's just insanity.
There are no words we can say on this show for it. I think there are some words I would like to say about it. Okay, well let's stick with you here. Do you have any update on the wallet situation there? And you wanted to talk about that. We're talking about different countries, different ways they're doing things. We talked about this last week with what's going on in Nigeria. Someone actually had a question in the chat about Nigeria. Also, any of you guys have info on the Nigerian Bitcoin price? What is it? Is it higher than in other places? I would assume it is, because of what Boris is going to talk about in terms of Nigeria. So Boris, talk about Nigeria, Netherlands, anything.
Yeah, Nigeria first. We had this Senate hearing last week, where a couple of senators were discussing, or actually the whole Senate was discussing Bitcoin. They invited the head of the Nigerian central bank to come over and explain Bitcoin to them. And what I found fascinating is that these Nigerian senators know more about Bitcoin than most of the Dutch senators. They made some sense. We saw this guy called Sani Musa. Beautiful name, and he came up with this, and you can read it all on Twitter. They basically did a whole transcription of the whole hearing. He said cryptocurrency has become a worldwide transaction of which you cannot even identify who owns what. The technology is so strong that I don't see the kind of regulation that we can do. Bitcoin has made our currency almost useless and valueless. I love this. I absolutely love this. I mean, first of all, Bitcoin didn't make their currency useless or valueless. They did that themselves, but Bitcoin is showing it to the world, and they realize that, and there's no way back. I mean, we have I think Paxful is the platform that Nigerians use to send money home, and they got like 1.5 million, if it's not more, users. It's incredible. So the Nigerians have already switched to Bitcoin. There's no way back. They've banned it now officially, but I believe that the only reason they do that is so they can get some Bitcoin themselves before the rest of the population piles in, because you cannot put this toothpaste back in the tube. That's impossible. I think Nigeria is a huge country. Yeah, they have a fairly big economy, especially in Africa. When they adopt Bitcoin, and that's just a matter of time, whether the government bans it or doesn't ban it, that's a question whether they become obsolete or not, because people will use Bitcoin regardless, and it's already happening. I mean, if you see a lot of cars being shipped to Africa, and especially Nigeria from Europe, everything's being done through Bitcoin. There's just no way of turning that around. That's going to keep on going, and people keep their Bitcoin. If the government doesn't allow them to change it to their failing currency, well, people don't care so much anymore, because they just keep the Bitcoin. It keeps their value. So they're learning about store of wealth. They're learning about low time preference. They have a long-term vision. Don't forget, Nigeria is a country where the majority of the population is under 30. This is the demographic is really interesting. So they're adopting Bitcoin. They're young, they're vibrant, their economy is going to explode. This is going to be really interesting.
All right, but the problem is that they banned it. The government banned it. So the people are innovative. The government is laying the slap down, and Bitcoin is selling at a 36% premium in Nigeria, which, I mean, it makes sense. I guess they can't get it a regular way. When you make something illegal, it boosts the price. And another, again, Nigeria ain't your typical country. By the year 2050, I believe that the demographers are predicting there will be more people in Nigeria than in the United States of America. I mean, so they're not going to be able to keep Bitcoin banned there for very long. I mean, the people, we know for various reasons, there are plenty of people over there that have lots of internet skill. Like, some of them have too much internet skill that they email too many. You know what happens. But it better than those schemes that some deal with over there than getting into something legitimate like Bitcoin. So they're technologically sophisticated, they're young, they're growing, but their government is completely corrupt. And you make a great point. Yeah, they probably made it illegal so that their corrupt officials can try to buy it before the price goes up. I mean, I wouldn't put anything past these type of countries. I mean, unfortunately, the governments of Africa are probably the most corrupt on the planet. I mean, from what I've seen, South Africa is a disgrace. Everybody puts South Africa is supposed to be such a great, revolutionary stuff. Everything that's happened there. Their president has a palace. I don't want to get into it anymore. But again, South Africa. I've been going to South Africa since 2015. A Bitcoin conference there. If those people value their wealth in Bitcoin instead of Rand, and just like if the people in Nigeria value their wealth in Bitcoin instead of Naira, whatever it's called, I mean, they are in great shape now for the people because of both of those currencies have been inflated in horrifying ways. Sorry to interrupt you there, Boris. I don't know if you have anything more to say about Nigeria.
Yeah, I mean, talking about corruption, I live in the Netherlands, which is regarded as a stable Western country. I'm sorry, but I think we have a government that's just as corrupt as the Nigerian government. We're being lied to on a daily basis. Our national news is the embodification of corruption. It's horrible. I can see people moving to places that are free. I can see a huge Nigerian community erupting in Miami in the future if you guys keep it up. So why not? Because Bitcoin does that. I mean, these guys have had fun being poor for the last 30 years, and now they have enough of it. They discovered Bitcoin, and I'm pretty sure they're going to use it. So they're going to move to places that are more friendly to their needs and desires. And whether that's going to be in Africa or in Europe or in America, I mean, money won't be the issue. That means visas are not going to be the issue. This Nigeria could have a big impact on the world in the future.
All right. Before we'll get back to the Dutch in a second. By the way, it hit a big in your old Dutch currency. It hit some a big milestone, man. Right?
Before we have this monetary abomination of the euro, we had the Dutch guilder, which was actually the world reserve currency in the 1700s or in the 17th century. The Dutch guilder was about 2.2 guilders for €1. So that means that we've crossed the magical barrier of 100,000 guilders for one Bitcoin, which if you were alive at the time of the guilder before 2000, I don't know, there's some nostalgia to it. I kind of like it. I'm an old guy, so I like it.
All right, nostalgia. Down with the euro. All right, now, Brandon, did you have I didn't prepare you guys for the Nigeria stuff, but did you guys have Brandon, do you have any take on Nigeria?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I was going to throw in, I pulled up bitcoinpricemap.org. It says that as of today, there is a 51% spread on Bitcoin orders in Nigeria. It has traded as high as $84,383 per Bitcoin today. So there's definitely, the markets are illiquid. There's not a ton of volume going through it because I'm sure it's all moving kind of towards, local transactions, that kind of thing. But what's been logged here is pretty astounding. It's a huge premium. It's like almost 50%.
That's what government interference there. Government trying to regulate saying it's illegal. It's terrible. Nico, did you have any thoughts on the Nigeria or anything?
Yeah, man. Look, it's every single time a country tries to ban Bitcoin, every single time what happens is the market goes underground, it goes peer-to-peer, and the peer-to-peer volume spikes through the freaking roof. It just goes insane, right? And it's not that the Nigerian currency is Bitcoin's at a premium with the Nigerian currency. That's not at it at all. What it's actually showing the true value of the currency. That's exactly what Bitcoin is doing, because Bitcoin is the ultimate truth revealer. And what I also found very interesting, and perhaps we'll start to see a pattern of this, is that in Nigeria, it was the central bank that actually did the ban. And the legislators were actually more open to the idea of Bitcoin because they're the ones that wanted to hear about it in their form of the Senate. So it really goes to show who's calling the shots here? Why is it that unelected central bankers are just getting to decide what money to use? That's very interesting. And I think that type of architecture is going to be exposed again in another country, right? So it's very interesting stuff, man. This is very exciting times. Fourth turning.
Indeed. All right. Brandon, you wanted to actually talk about a current event that happened. Australia banning Facebook. How does that deal with Bitcoin?
It's a good question, maybe tangentially at best, but what I find it to be interesting is that basically Australia is trying to push forth basically a way for better attribution, better advertising dollars for news organizations in Australia. And by doing that are basically forcing Facebook, Google, and all these other tech platforms to severely decrease the amount of revenue that they're getting per click to those news sites. And so Facebook, I think as of like yesterday, maybe 2 days ago, banned all news from being linked onto Facebook, period, in Australia. It's like any Australian news site, you can't post a link to it. And if you're Australian, I don't think you're even allowed to look at any news whatsoever. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but that's how I read it. And so it's pretty wild. And I think it's just like, it's one of those weird cracks in the simulation where everyone thinks that everything's just going swimmingly, right? And everything's normal. And then you see something like this and everything just like freezes up in your mind and is like, how close are we to seeing the entire internet web infrastructure sort of just break down because regulators are realizing that these internet companies have all the power and they don't have any power. So I don't know. I just thought it was interesting, but maybe not too Bitcoin related.
Well, it's about centralization, government interference, weird regulations, all things that Bitcoin avoids, or that if you're in the Bitcoin overlay, you really don't have to worry about that. It also reminds us of how a country that we thought was so free just a year ago, or a little over a year ago, is a disgrace. It is a disgrace what is going on in Australia. I mean, they're just the ultimate nanny state now. Screaming Karens complain about internet, complain about, everyone's begging to be locked down in Melbourne. I hope not. The scenes that can't come out. I've been to Melbourne before. What a beautiful place, but it looks ugly as heck when they're all locked up and scared. I mean, in terms of this sickness that's been going on, hardly anyone even has it there. Just the way they've gone about things. All right, so that diverged off of Bitcoin, but we got to talk about beyond Bitcoin type of stuff sometimes also. And it just reminds me how happy I am to be in Florida and how people, at least in America, we have 50 options. In Australia, I don't know. It's sad. It's really sad what went on there. Okay, we won't talk about Australia anyway. There was something else here, a current event here, Brandon. You want to bring up? Oh yeah. And this is mining. We had in Texas there was the power meltdown. How does that? You want to tie that into the environmental FUD of Bitcoin mining?
Yeah, well, so, maybe even to tie in Australia again and everything we've talked about, I'm seeing a real bifurcation of the way that people interpret data in the world. And it's like either you interpret it as this, go with the mainstream narrative, follow what the mainstream fears and talking points are, or, go with this, I don't want to make it that like black and white, but like think for yourself. And like try and understand what's going on intuitively. And so ironically, we've had this confluence where you've seen a ton of different climate scientists recently, set their sights on Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining and say, dive no further than Bitcoin uses a lot of energy. Therefore, Bitcoin is destroying the world and destroying the environment and causing climate change and all this kind of stuff. And it's just like, throw the kitchen sink at it, right? And what's interesting is that at the same time, you have the failure of the Texas power grid due to, a freak winter storm, but, due to weather. And there's just this weird dichotomy where, this is something that Bitcoin actually would have a solution for. Because if you have a whole bunch of energy pointed towards Bitcoin mining that can be shut off at the snap of a finger and redirected back onto the grid, you've solved a ton of problems. But like, that's not even being talked about because it's so far away from what everyone wants to talk about, which is just climate change and Texas being terrible because they love freedom. And so, I had a great conversation with Harry Sudok from Grid, and that's what he does. And he had some really keen insights just about like, this should be the moment that miners are really hammering the drums and saying, look at what we can provide to society. But they don't have a platform or microphone.
Well, it's you get insider information here, right? That's what the mainstream media is feeding you is complete garbage. I mean, these days, I mean, they jump on one popular line that gets people emotional, and they go with it, and it ends up to be a total lie. Like it's Texas is, it's the windmills froze. Okay, we need a Green New Deal to fix this. No, we need oil in the way things were before. Okay, all right, there's cost for society to grow, and there are great benefits when society and when we have progress. So you can see when you subsidize some of these green solutions, you can end up with a major failure like we've had. But they're not even depicting it that way at all. They're just going like, oh, we need more windmills or. It's insane. And so many people eat up these narratives. I mean, another big one is, Bill Gates is saying to eat fake meat now. And all these people are talking about how great fake meat is. I mean, this stuff is toxic sludge. And the mainstream media just goes with it. Like, oh, it'll protect the environment. It'll save the cows. And there won't be global warming. And you'll be poisoned and you'll get cancer. I mean, come on, dudes. I mean, some people have just lost all logic and reason in this world today. And that's why I'm so happy to be in the Bitcoin overlay, where you can say whatever you want to say and you can't get canceled. If you saved up your Bitcoin, I mean, like me, nothing can happen to me now because I've been buying this stuff since freaking 2013, baby. It is great to understand. These are the benefits of deferral of gratification. Sure, I could have got myself a Tesla. I would much rather have enough money to retire on than have a Tesla 4 years ago and to be able to say whatever I want to say, to not fear this cancel culture, to God forbid I have enough Bitcoin that if I need to bribe someone, I can get out of this country if need be. Okay, so went on a little rant there again. We've been going beyond Bitcoin a lot today, but it's all tying together today because everything in the mainstream is so obnoxiously disgusting now. When you're grounded in Bitcoin, you see it. You really see it. All right, Nico, I don't even know what we were talking about. Do you have any comments on it?
Absolutely, man. Look, the Bitcoin is the ultimate purveyor of truth. It exposes the truth. The deeper you are into the rabbit hole, the more sovereign you are. You run your own node. You hold your own keys. You understand that, and their matrix starts breaking down. And what you've been seeing in the last 2 years is the matrix, man. There's glitches in it. They're so obvious. You can't even ask questions about basic things without being completely canceled. Black is white, white is black, but you'll always ever know that there only will ever be 21 million Bitcoin. So it really grounds you to kind of reality, right? And I think that Bitcoin it allows us, right, the orange pilled, to kind of just not only see what's going on in the insanity of late stage fiat, but also be protected by this orange force field, right? Because that's essentially what's going on. Is there's chaos, man. There's absolute chaos going all around us.
Yeah.
If I could just piggyback on what both of you said, and I'll try and say this without getting emotional, but if you just did what the mainstream told you to do for the past 12 months, you would not have hugged your parents or your grandparents. You would be, in full belief that there is something inherently wrong with you because of the color of your skin or, the thing between your legs. You would be fearing for your life from even going outside or interacting with your neighbors. And you wouldn't buy Bitcoin. You wouldn't touch it. And you wouldn't have any savings. like, the system that we have today is so awful for average people, and we wonder why there's so much, mental health sickness and sickness in general, and unhappiness. And it's like, look at the diet that we're feeding of truth to these people. And it pains me to say it, and like it hurts to kind of talk about it, but it really is sad.
And Bran, I think that, and I've never been so optimistic. The base layer of society is broken. Okay, it's this fiat base layer that's broken, and it has so many consequences, right? But we're heading into a future where the base layer of society is not going to be built on lies, but is going to be built on truth. What type of world will that look like? I'm extremely, very excited to find out.
I hope so. But there's so many normies that love the comfortable dystopia and the lies. As long as they get their bread in circuses and their CNN, they're pretty happy. So I'm just saying right now, I don't believe in a system. I believe in you making your own system. So people, if you feel helpless out there, make your own system. Leave. Be in motion. Get out of there. You don't have to be. Fitting in is overrated. Try to understand what that means and get out of the sad situation that you find yourself in today. If you do nothing, then yeah, you're going to be in this, quote unquote matrix and everything. But you don't have to be in there. You're not. No one is forced, and Bitcoin is definitely the key to get out of there. A big first step. And yeah, anyone that's listening to the mainstream media for the last year, have fun staying poor. I mean, seriously. I mean, on March the 12th. I will never forget it when Bitcoin went. I mean, everybody panicked on March the 12th. Every financial market crashed, and there were people selling Bitcoin for $4,000 and stuff. And of course, everybody knows I bought 2 that day, and it cost $10,000. And now, what's it worth? $110,000 now. But most people sold that day. Most people had the mentality, this is the end of the world. Being a Bitcoiner, I knew this is a joke. This isn't supposed to happen. Everything will return. I mean, this is a day that the rich get richer. Blood in the freaking streets. And yeah, the rich got richer that day. I love it. All right, Boris, sorry, we've cut you. You've got a lot to say about all this, I'm sure.
Yeah, man, the cognitive dissonance that people have to go through to wake up. I see people waking up because of COVID and because of Corona and because of the obvious lies that the government tells them. They start to realize that government doesn't necessarily have their best interest in mind. And when they start to wake up, they find this sort of asset class that's exploding right now, and those two things come together it's a perfect storm. It's amazing. And the interesting thing is that I get asked sometimes on podcasts to talk about Corona, because just like you, Adam, and most Bitcoiners, I really detest what sort of abuse we get to endure from the government. But these conversations always turn to Bitcoin and how Bitcoin is this invention, like explained in The Sovereign Individual, where if we all pull back behind this great wall of encryption, that we can actually defend ourselves against big government, just like the pirates did when they invented ways to build boats to actually sail over the world, or like the Americans did when they fought the British, when they discovered the repeater rifles and they finally had technology to fight these armies. I mean, technology always gives the upper hand to the common people when it comes to fighting big government. And we have this new technology. They're not even woke yet. They don't even see what's coming for them. And we have the masses waking up to the lies of big government, discovering Bitcoin. Now they're all high on the price, but it will be just a matter of months. It will be just a little bit of time before they learn how to use this technology to their advantage and actually get big government to stand down, and they will gain some freedom. I love that. I can't wait for it. I mean, I'm pumped for it. I love it.
All right. Positive take. And you're right. Technology gives people freedom. Let's keep on having innovation. All right. Keep on innovating. I know a lot of people rip on altcoins and whatever. you don't worry about them. Let them do what they're going to do. Let's keep an environment of innovation and production out there. And clearly Miami is adopting that. And we want more jurisdictions to welcome that, because again, most jurisdictions of the planet right now are just about panic and fear and not about innovation. Innovation produces a technology that produces more freedom for us. Thank God for Bitcoin. Okay, now we're at the end of the show. I want everybody to do their conclusionary remarks, anything that was left off, any additional sayings they have to say about what we've been talking about the subject matters, any promotions. We'll start with Nico here.
Yeah, man, listen, I tweeted out this morning, I have never, and this is my 5th year since discovering Bitcoin, I have never been as bullish as I am today. And that is because all the speculation, all the theories, all the things that we have been talking about, essentially, for the last 4, 5, 6 years, is starting to come to actuality. And Elon said it himself, on Clubhouse that other day, basically saying we are on the verge of Bitcoin hitting or becoming financial mainstream. Now, into the financial mainstream. Now, I'm going to say that with a caveat. Not that it matters. Honey Badger doesn't care, right? But that it's going to explode to such a height, man, that it's going to empower Bitcoiners. Therefore, that's going to be propelled forward. So, man, I'm just so excited. Thank you so much for having me on my show. Guys, if you like, if you like how I talk, if you want to see more of me, go check out Simply Bitcoin. It's a 10-minute daily Bitcoin show here on YouTube. You can just type it in, it'll pop up. And Adam, thank you so much for having me on.
All right, now all these dudes are linked to below, so follow them on Twitter. They tweet out whenever they're on any show, whether it be in Dutch or in English or Spanish or whatever. And you can go down with the Spanish too, man. You can rip that, right? Yeah. All right, we go to Brandon.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Adam. If I could give a parting, bullish thing, it would be that we had Scaramucci on Bitcoin Magazine a couple days ago, and he was talking about Skybridge, which he's a managing partner of, and it's like, Skybridge is ginormous. And he said not only did he think we'd probably hit 250K this year, which I think is bearish, but that he said that as the Bitcoin price increases, institutions are only getting more comfortable buying it. And so, we've had 12 years to front run the institutions, but they're knocking at the door now, and there's no stopping them from coming in. And so, if you didn't already get in, now you got to play with the big boys. So here we go. And we're about to accelerate from here. Follow me on Twitter. Find us at Bitcoin Magazine.
This is where the big boys play. Pound that like button. You really tied it all together there, because that's how we started the show. We're talking about the $1 trillion market cap. Will this normalize it for all the institutions? You just said, as Scaramucci said, as the price goes up, they become more and more interested. Well, there you go. We got to that $1 trillion market cap. I'm sure it's going to wake a lot more of those dudes up. Too bad for them. They didn't know about it in 2013 and had to wait until it got to $1 trillion market cap. Ridiculous. It was insider information for the guys who watched this show, dude. You beat those rich dudes. Don't complain about the rich. Just we'll leave it with Boris here.
Yeah, when everybody's shilling their own podcast, I'm going to do the same thing. We do the Bitcoin show. It's like the Muppet Show, but then about Bitcoin. I do it together with Jan Burgers and Aaron van Weerdem. And if you're ever looking for a good reason to learn Dutch, the Bitcoin show is it. Besides that, guys, thank you for inviting me on the show, Adam. It's always a pleasure. I love it. I can't wait to see where we'll be at the next time I'll be on your show. Probably 100,000 plus. It could be sooner rather than later. I have no idea, but I'm psyched as hell. I love it, guys. I wish you all a beautiful day over there in sunny Florida, and enjoy it.
Positive take. One day closer to the 6-digit realm. I guess that should be my new saying, since we've already surpassed the $1 trillion market cap. I love how my old sayings, they become history. They predict the future for a while, and then they become history. That is part of the Bitcoin vibe here. You have huge expectations, and we get to them eventually. So $1 trillion was today. Thank you, guest. Check them all out. Pound that like button. I'm Adam Meister, BitcoinMeister, Disrupt Meister, Tech Bolt on Twitter. Shabbat Shalom. See you guys soon. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. All right. And let me end it here.